There is a lot going on in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero's combat, and while there is a short tutorial at the beginning of the game to get you started, it doesn't even go into half of the deeper mechanics that you'll need to know if you plan on making it through episode mode, and especially if you plan on trying to go for the secret win conditions that lead to path branches. So let's break down this complex fighting system and tell you what you need to know in order to master it.
This is the end for you. Here's a little extra.
First off, because there's already so much to go over about this combat system, I'm going to skip the most basic things and assume that you already know what the key bar is, what the skill counter is, what rush attacks are, and so on. So to start, let's talk about distance and movement. In Sparking Zero, the distance between you and your opponent affects what options you have available to you. Note how while I'm moving away from my opponent, eventually there are speed lines that show up and I start moving a little faster. That indicates that I've left close range. Why this is important is because your dash and moves change depending on whether you're close or far. If I'm close, pressing the dash button will initiate an invulnerable quick step, and then if I attack, it will do a standard rush combo. If I'm at this long range distance though, pressing the dash button will execute a quick dash, and if I perform an attack out of that quick dash, I'll actually perform a unique short dash attack that can be charged to send opponents flying, comboed into a rush combo, or followed up with two special combo strings called Dash Rising and Dash Blow. If you're very far away, your best option is probably to use a Dragon Dash by holding down the right trigger and pressing the dash button. Pressing it without holding a direction will automatically send you towards your target, while holding a direction will let you fly in that direction. Out of a Dragon Dash, you can do a standard attack that will combo into a rush combo if it hits, or if they're blocking, you can choose to either hold up or down and the attack button to use either a high or low attack. If they're just using a standard block and they get hit by a high or low attack, you will break their guard and open them up for a free combo. However, if they angle their block correctly, you will be the one who is opened up for a free combo. Alternatively, if you want to spend an extra bar of your key meter, you could also press the dash button again during a Dragon Dash to almost instantly zip behind your opponent and use a dash attack that the opponent will have to react to when it happens and block, which is very hard to do. One final method of approach is by using Vanishing Assaults by pressing square and X at the same time. The effect of this will differ depending on the spacing between you and your opponent. If you're close by, you'll teleport behind your opponent and knock them away, opening them up for a pursuit attack. If you're at mid-range, you'll close the distance by teleporting in front of them with a strike that can open them up for a rush combo. Be aware though that it costs a full bar of meter to use. Basically, there are a lot of ways to approach in Sparking Zero, with each having their own advantages and disadvantages, and keeping things unpredictable is one of the best ways to make sure that your hits land. Alright, so you broke through your enemy's guard and landed a rush attack. What now?
Oh no.
Well, mashing square does work pretty well. You get a decent chunk of damage, and the auto combo ends with an attack that will send the opponent soaring away, giving you an opportunity for follow-ups. The issues are, A, you're leaving damage on the table, B, you're being predictable, which makes your offense easy to counter, and C, you're not building as much ki as you could be. Instead, work in what are known as rush chains to extend your combos. With Goku, for instance, you can do something like this.
You'll regret that!
Now, it's worth noting that there are gaps between rush attacks and most rush chains that let the opponent just hold guard while they're getting hit in order to block a rush chain. If you notice that they're doing this though, you can either charge the rush chain and break their guard, or press R1 to quickly move to their side and continue the assault. That's just an example for Goku, but most characters can do something similar by finding a way to use each of their combo extenders in a combo. You can't repeat the same rush chain twice in a combo, as it will make the combo drop. So take your favorite character into training mode and do some experimentation to find a way to link a gut punch into jump kicks, into a sweep, into a lift strike, etc. Long combos have a downside too, however. They give the opponent more opportunities to counter you. So also take a look at the explanation of controls list for your character, and you can find a couple of shorter, harder to counter combos that can be used after certain rush chains. Alright, so now what do you do when you knock an enemy away? One of the things that sets Dragon Ball Sparking Zero apart from a lot of other arena fighters is that when you knock an enemy soaring away at 100 miles per hour, the combo isn't over. You have a number of different follow-ups that you can use with just the press of a button. So anytime you knock an enemy flying away with the final hit of a rush combo, or a charged smash attack, or you reverse an attack and hit with one of your own, always press X to do a dragon homing, and then square to do a dragon smash, or press triangle to do a vanishing attack. After landing one of those two moves, you can also press circle to use a lightning attack to basically end the combo by slamming them down into the ground. Every character has a different number of pursuit attacks available to them, with most being able to use 2 or 3, and a few, like Ultra Instinct Goku, being able to do as many as 4. The lightning attack Ender doesn't count as a pursuit attack, so you could, for example, as Ultra Instinct Goku, do 3 vanishing attacks, 1 dragon smash, and then a lightning attack to close it all out. Another thing to note is that blasts, which are what Sparking Zero calls your big Kamehameha-like special moves, are near guaranteed to land after a pursuit attack. So if you have the key available, you should almost always look to land one of your character's special moves after knocking them away with a pursuit attack. You can also choose not to finish the combo with a lightning attack and instead use that opportunity to charge up your ki. Last thing that's worth noting is that you usually will gain extra pursuit attacks while in sparking mode as well, so keep that in mind to really optimize the amount of damage you're dealing. Speaking of sparking mode, you can enter this powered up mode by fully charging your ki past its limit, but only if you have at least 1 point in your skill counter. While in sparking mode, your regular mash square rush combo can go on for much longer before the enemy gets knocked out of it. Using Goku as an example again, his regular rush combo is 5 hits, while in sparking mode, it's 20. The big benefit of sparking mode though is that you gain access to your character's ultimate blast by holding R2 and pressing circle. Ideally, you don't want to spend it right away, as once you do, you'll not only be taken out of sparking mode, but you'll also lose all of your ki as well, regardless of whether the move lands or not. So take your time and try to find a way to combo into your ultimate blast by landing a launching rush combo, a vanishing attack, or a charged up smash attack, which are unblockable in sparking mode by the way. Don't ever feel like you need to use your ultimate blast either. If sparking mode just runs out, you'll still have full ki and be able to easily get back into it. So if the opportunity isn't there, don't sweat it and just try again. Defense is just as important as offense in Sparking Zero, and there are a ton of different defensive options, each again with their own pros and cons. Let's start with regular guarding. You can guard by holding R1 to negate or at least mitigate virtually every type of damage. There are certain blasts that are unblockable, you can still be thrown, you can't block attacks from the side or behind, and you can't block high or low attacks without calling them out with a high or low guard, but otherwise, blocking is a very safe and solid method of defense that lets you wait out an opponent's offense and look for an opening. Perception is a stance that you can enter by holding circle, and while in this stance, you will counter any rush attacks outright, at the cost of your ki. If you're able to perfectly time Perception to an enemy's attack, you'll do a Sonic Sway, which does some extra damage and also drains the opponent's ki. Note that you can do Perception out of a block, so if you're blocking attacks and they just keep on swinging, you can just switch to a Perception block and get them off of you without putting yourself at any risk. If an enemy notices that you're just holding Perception or block though, all they have to do is use high speed movement during a rush combo to zip to your side or to your back and continue the assault. If they do that though, you can counter it with your own high speed movement by pressing R1. High speed movement can be used to counter an opponent's high speed movement, a charged smash attack, a pursuit attack, and blasts, but requires fairly strict timing, making it a bit risky to use against exceptionally damaging moves. You're usually better off just blocking or using your dashes to try to get out of the way if you're far enough. Perception loses out to basic ki attacks, but it can be used to deflect certain blasts. Note though that you cannot deflect ultimate blasts, and potentially other blasts that are unblockable. Look, I don't know for sure, I haven't tested against all of them. There are a lot of characters in this game. You have defensive options even when you're being hit as well. If you press the right stick in as you're getting hit, you'll use a revenge counter, which costs 1 point from your skill counter, but will essentially act as a combo breaker. However, if your opponent predicts that you're going to use a revenge counter, they can use perception and break your counter. And finally, you have super counters, which you can do by pressing up and square. These are incredibly difficult to time, as they should be, as you can use them even while you're getting hit from behind with no cost. And if they land, you knock the opponent away and leave them open to pursuit attacks. Mashing to find the timing doesn't work either. You'll have to very specifically time the counter to get it to land. One other very important thing that you need to know about Sparking Zero is how to recover, because if you don't, you'll get hit by blasts that you could have avoided and potentially even punished. If you get knocked away after a certain period of time, you can press R1 to stop yourself and regain control. You need to do this, because if you don't, you won't regain control until you hit the ground, which gives your opponent time to either charge up or hit you with a blast that isn't part of a true combo. Similarly, if you're splatted on the ground, press X and a direction to roll and get back up on your feet. You can also spring back into the action in certain circumstances by holding forward to use a Dragon Dash and instantly get back into your opponent's face. Or you can do the opposite and quickly retreat by holding back. Finally, really quickly, let's touch upon transformations, fusions, and tags. If you're a character with a transformation, you'll know when you have reached the requirements for a transformation by the appearance of this icon next to the skill counter. When you see it, hold up on the D-pad to bring up your potential transformations. Each transformation has a cost tied to it, which is how many points on your skill counter you'll need to do that transformation. Fusions are largely the same thing. You just tab over to the fusions by pressing R1, only you'll need to have a teammate who you can fuse with. It's important to note that you'll need the correct versions of those characters, so only Vegeta, End, will fuse with Goku, End, to make either Vegito or Gogeta. You can't fuse Saiyan Armor Vegeta with the end of DBZ Goku, for instance. You'll know when you're able to tag when you see this symbol flashing next to your skill counter. To tag out, hold left on the D-pad to bring up the same submenu, and press the face button corresponding to the character you'd like to tag in. You can also use a tag as a pursuit attack by tagging in your teammate after knocking your foe away. And that is everything you need to know about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero's fighting system. I know it's a lot, but hopefully this helps you understand it a little bit better. Thanks for watching, and for more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, check out our full review. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.